We live? What's up?
Harrison?
Oh,
Harrison,
yeah. Sorry.
okay?
I have the YouTube link and I hear the sound going off. Sorry, gentlemen. That's a great way to introduce myself as a host of the Peach State Power Hour.
Oh, my Harry, where are you at? Come back.
Sorry. I was sitting here, I was like, wait, is the intro video going? But no, it's just the YouTube tab. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Harrison Reno. Alongside me, Andy Stowe, Eddie from Acworth, back with the Peach State Power Hour. Gentlemen, how are you doing this Sunday evening?
Man, I'm doing good. It's good to be back. It's like I said, we do miss Paul. I'm joking. We do miss Paul, but Harrison, we're glad you're a part of us tonight, and I'm ready to do this. Football season is starting in 5 days or something. So we're getting there. So
Yes, it is. And welcome to you, Andy, and Harrison. Welcome to you as well. Again, we miss Paul, but things have changed a little bit. And I would just shout out Harrison Reno. You guys, his Twitter handle's not up there, but he'll shout it out in a minute. Please follow Harrison Reno. He gives some great insight. He's very close to the Georgia football team. He's worth a follow on Twitter, no doubt, on UGA Sports. And one quick thing before we get started, Andy loves this because I always throw something non-sports related. But this week's been a tough one for me, and I know for you too, Andy. 3 deaths that kind of were my youth. Okay, yeah. Malcolm Jamal Warner from The Cosby Show tragically died. That's something from my youth for sure. Ozzy Osbourne, and that guy, I just worshipped him when I was a kid. I love that guy. He was an amazing musician. And Hulk Hogan. I know Andy will speak more to that. I'm not as big into wrestling, but to see those 3 guys pass away this week was really sad, you know, and Harrison, you're too young. I know, you know, probably the music, but all that, but that wasn't part of your youth. I understand that. But I mean, to see those 3 pass away was really tragic this week. Tough.
Yeah, it's weird when growing up seeing guys that you worship. You know, I mean, I watched the Cosbys. That's one of it's like one of those shows you grow up with, Cosbys and Full House and for all those different shows, and you see Hulk Hogan and Ozzy because of Chipper Jones. That's my that's my relation to Ozzy Osbourne is Chipper Jones, and then Hulk Hogan. I mean, I grew up Monday night, watching wrestling. So yeah, it's different. So it's it makes you think about stuff. But hey.
That's right.
Football starting though, so we're good to go.
That's right. That's right. Didn't mean to bring the show down there, Harrison, but I had to bring that up. So
you're good. I mean, guys, I'm gonna show my age here, and I'm waiting to see just how many age jokes there are about me being young. We haven't had one yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and make one real quick. My first exposure to Hulk Hogan was Rocky 3. If that tells you kind of where it's at.
But that's okay.
Yeah, but that's okay. Yeah, I was gonna say it. That's actually a lot of people's first exposure to Hulk Hogan, but it was not when you got the exposure. It was when Rocky 3 was actually out. So there's the youth joke right there. But to your point, 100%, I wasn't much of a wrestling guy. Andy was, and I got the exposure from Rocky 3 and him becoming mainstream and all that kind of thing. So I understand exactly where you're coming from, Harrison.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, y'all did say it. It is football season. Football season's here. Georgia kicks off fall camp later this week. Kirby Smart will be meeting with the press on Thursday. A lot to talk about. I know talking season. I like to say talking season's now over. Now that SEC Media Days in the rearview mirror, I like to say it's truth season now, because now when you really find out what's going on with each team, which positions are concerning, which positions are shining. I'm sure the receiver group is going to be coming up at some point in this fall camp. I will touch on that a little bit later. I have my own thoughts on the receiver group that may differ from everybody else, but we'll touch on that later. But gentlemen, let's first open it up with SEC Media Days. Obviously, I was in attendance alongside Dash and Jed. Awesome experience. Andy, Eddie, y'all were watching along from home like everybody in terms of the press conferences. I know y'all probably found the transcripts knowing y'all and diving into it. I think let's start here in terms of the 4 days as a whole. I thought this year was one of the least newsworthy media days that I can remember in a little bit. It really just felt like just kind of rah-rah, kind of, hey, I'm going to say this about my team to try and get my fan base into it. Altogether, other than the Nick Saban rumor, which Greg McElroy started, of course, it was a Bama Hammer that did it. Yeah. It was really not noteworthy.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. Like, there was nothing that was just like breaking news, but I think that may be a good thing. And you see, I really enjoyed watching the interviews with Gunnar Stockton because that was a big thing. I thought And I saw that. I was laughing a minute ago. I love Thunder Lip. Like I thought the Gunner Stockton, like him just being a part of it to me was as breaking news as anything that Georgia's done, because I didn't think he was going. We had talked about who we thought was going to be the representative. I didn't think Gunner was going to be. I just assumed Kirby would leave the quarterback, and especially with, I guess it was a month or 2 months ago, he said it was an open competition. So I was kind of surprised that Gunner was there. And Harrison, did you actually interview Gunner when you were there?
I was in the gaggle with Gunner, kind of toward the end, or in the main room. They started in the main room, and then they worked their way into the electronic media room upstairs. Yeah. So Gunner was downstairs. I talked to him there, got a few questions in. I asked him, hey, what excites you most about the offense? He said, everything. I'm like, all right, that's kind of what I was expecting. The best answer I got from him was about Lost and Lucky. Kind of lit up about the guy. Really? I kind of framed the question about, that there's that clip in the Texas-Georgia SEC Championship highlight reel that they released, where Lawson's like, hey, if you believe in yourself as much as I believe in you, we're going to be all right. Gunner was saying, he really hadn't thought about that moment, hadn't thought back on it, was saying that he, was so focused on going into the game, he really wasn't taking in what Lawson said. But now as he looks back and he sees that, he just went on to gush about Lost and Lucky, which I think that's somebody that the fan base as a whole is gushing over after I think he had a pretty solid showing last year, considering some of the circumstances with the offense. Gentlemen, let's talk about, I guess let's start here with Smart and his day at the press. Usually he comes in with a message in terms of he has like a theme. Last year it was, what was the theme? I remember Assume Nothing was after the repeat. That was the one. The year before was We Will Not Be Hunted. Yeah. But this year it was very much a just program culture, what we're looking for on the recruiting trail focus in terms of we're valuing relationships over transactions.
I think that was his message. It was not about the money. It was about the relationships.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say, Harrison. You nailed it. And I may get pushback from this. The Tyler Atkinson thing happened before Kirby Smart spoke, right? In other words, he went to Texas all of a sudden, kind of overnight. Tyler Atkinson, big recruit. We recruited since 8th grade, right? They've been on his case to try to get him to Georgia. And he decided last minute to go to Texas. And we all know why. It was the money. And they don't want to say that. But Kirby made that a point in that presser to say, we are relational, not transactional. Yeah. And I think that was a subtle shot, not necessarily at Tyler, but overall saying, this is where we are, guys. Okay. We are more into developing relationships. And that's not to say they're always going to get the relational guys like Justice Terry. They recruited him from the same time period, right? Didn't work out. He ended up at Texas, but he values that more than the transactional thing. The only other thing, and you're right, Harrison, I'll bounce off of what you said just quickly. The Hard Knocks thing, the NFL program that's come out on HBO, I think it comes out next week. Years ago, that was like the greatest TV thing in the world for NFL fans. It's completely lost its luster because of social media and all that kind of stuff. We see this stuff instantaneously now, okay? And I think it's the same with SEC Media Days. It was kind of the same thing. This was all like groundbreaking news. Well, now it's like we've already heard about this. And the other thing, everybody's so polished. Not just the kids from Georgia, kids everywhere. Nobody says anything, and they do it on purpose. The only thing I took out of it was what Kirby said, the relationships versus transactions. And two, what broke ground for me was Josh Heupel saying at Tennessee, they don't know who the starting quarterback is. That one surprised me because I thought it was going to be the kid coming in from, what is it, UCLA, the transfer, right?
Yeah,
right. But I mean, right. But the UCLA thing happened. He went to right. He was supposed to go there, but I thought that kid was going to be the starter. He said, we don't have a starter. That to me was groundbreaking, and that's not good. We played in the 3rd game of the year. That's not good for them.
It's kind of crazy to me. I think going into the year, when I looked at that week 3 matchup, and I know this is going a little bit we're tailing off, but we're going to get back to the point, I promise. When I went back, in the spring before the Nico stuff went down, that game looked a lot more menacing. It was going to be your first road start, going to be your first SEC start, your first real test of the year.
But did Nico?
But now
Andy's already laughing. I can see it.
Nico was never. I never looked at Nico and thought, "Oh my God!" Like Aguilar, I think may be better than. I don't. I was never scared of Nico. I thought he was paid way too much money, and I thought he was a decent.
Yeah,
coach.
you say all that, Andy, but Nico, another year in the system, he's got all that under his belt, another year of experience. And this kid coming in knows nothing about what Tennessee does, the playbook, all that. So that to me was more scary having Nico back. I understand what you're saying, Andy, but there with Nico another year, that to me was scary.
I get it. Nico just didn't do much for me. I thought he was completely overhyped, overpaid. I think Tennessee is glad he left. That's what I think. I don't think he was. I think they saw the writing on the wall and was like, okay, let him go. I don't think he was anything. I don't think he was special. I think he was good at best.
Not to get too far off track, Andy, I'd be curious, I guess, looking back, and I know this is all kind of hindsight now. After Georgia faced Hendon Hooker in 21, was that somebody going into 22 that you were like, ooh, he might be able to get us? I know he didn't, obviously. But that Tennessee team was really, improved. So
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about Josh Heupel. He runs that spread wide at offense, and I think Kirby Smart has his number. I think Kirby knows how to work that defense versus that widespread crap. So it's Art Briles' offense tweaked. I don't care. I'm not scared of it. I just Joe Milton. Wow, he could throw it 85 yards, but he couldn't hit
from his knees.
Pass.
From his knees, right? Yeah.
I guess until Josh Heupel proves he can go up against Kirby Smart and beat Kirby Smart, I'm not too worried about him. So I know that's that road, but
yeah. I mean, it's very much the conversation I think people are going to start having about Sarkisian and Smart.
That's what I will ask. That's my question. At Media Day, this whole Georgia versus Texas is almost like Alabama's not even which I would consider our main rival. Is it now Texas? Is that what everyone's saying?
Certainly on the recruiting trail, Eddie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. And Sarkisian to come out there, I thought was actually insulting the way he came out and said, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, he almost said, we're not transactional, we're relational too. He almost said that in a roundabout way, right? He kind of made it sound like, oh, we're not big into the NIL. If those kids want a bunch of money, we don't want those kids, something to that effect. Come on. That's ridiculous. The proof's in the pudding here. We've watched it over and over with Sarkisian do this kinds of things. And it's not his money. It's the people around him, the NIL stuff, and they have tons of money. They have tons of oil money down there. Tyler Atkinson, apparently, I read this week, got double what Georgia offered him. Is that right, Harrison? I don't know if that's been vetted out, but, I mean, we can kind of assume that's what happened, right? So for Sark to come out there and say we're not about the money, they are about the money. And I think it's more the media wants Texas and Georgia to be this massive rival. They do, okay? And we pounded them twice. The media is all about Arch Manning. They're all about Texas. They're all about the superstars that come around with Texas and that beautiful burnt orange color that they have and their really cool mascot that can eat up Uga, those kinds of things. They want this to be a spotlight matchup, and it probably will be when they come to Athens for sure this year, but I think I'm with Andy. I think we got their number. Kirby just has Texas's number for some reason.
And I think that obviously for Georgia fans, it has to feel good in terms of this is the one that, like Eddie was talking about, the media wants to prop up, wants this to be the marquee, hey, the winner of this game wins the SEC and goes on to compete for the national title. Georgia has the number because for so many years, and again, we'll get back to this, in terms of the Alabama's kind of been the boogeyman. Still is at some points. Yeah. That's a major question in terms of that game in week 5 can Georgia get the beast from under its bed out from under and kick that thing out? That's I think that has to feel good for many. And same thing, it's interesting. The two teams in orange, Georgia's been on top of for the last few years, especially Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you guys this. If you had to pick between those two games, Georgia wins one of those. If you're splitting those, which one do you want?
Who are the two games?
Alabama and Texas.
Alabama.
Okay.
100%.
That's the way I feel. I think we have got to beat Alabama in Athens this year. And even if we were to go 11-1, there's still that but I think we have got to beat them. And even if we were to lose to Texas, I'm not that concerned about it. So, I mean, I think we've got to beat Alabama. That's where I'm at.
Thank you, Fred F. Appreciate that. And Garrett brought it up. Put that back up if you can, Harrison. Garrett Key's comment there. Back one.
This one or the other one?
There you go, right there. Tide is Georgia's monster under the bed. That's 100% right. And I'm going to bring this up later. It's in my talking points, but I'll go ahead and say it now. Harrison, again, you're too young for this. Andy, you may remember a little bit of this. Bama is now Georgia's Florida from the 1990s with Steve
100%.
Spurrier.
100%.
That is what they are, okay? And I'm thrilled that we beat them in the national championship game, okay? I'm thrilled. That was the greatest moment of my life, save the birth of my 3 children. But since that point and before that, it's been Bama plays the perfect game against Georgia and beats our butt every time. And we cannot – they got that one number on their helmet, and it's like we freak out. Kirby freaks out when he sees that. And it happened last year, and Saban wasn't even on the sidelines. So I'm with you, Andy. They have got to win that football game on a Saturday night in Athens and beat Bama and make a statement.
And I think we're going to, because we should have won last year. You know, we came back. We were down huge, comeback. I think this year we are. I do not think Kalen DeBoer will beat Kirby Smart 2 times in a row. I think
I've got some stuff to prove you wrong here in a little bit.
Ooh,
Well,
nice forward plug for later in the show. I guess, yeah. Look at that. Just before we transition, I wanted to bring this up. Let's talk about Kalen DeBoer for a moment. When Alabama comes to town in years past in Atlanta or Birmingham, wherever the heck SEC Media Day is held each year, always gains attraction. Last year, he was overshadowed by Nick Saban in terms of Nick Saban was in the building. That was pretty much, everybody wanted to talk about Nick Saban being in the building. This year, other than him talking about Ty Simpson being his starter, if the season started as of today, like you were talking about, Andy, Bama's kind of an afterthought, which is crazy. Very, very crazy.
But so they lost 4 games last year. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. They go 4.
So do you think people are wondering if Alabama may take a step back? And so they see Georgia as up here. And so they want Georgia to have a rivalry, and Texas being, the all world got more money than they can ever spend team. And that's why they're trying to make this out to be more of a rival. I don't know. It feels like Alabama is no longer Alabama, which they beat us last year. I know they lost to Vanderbilt, but it's just like it feels like people think that is done, and it's not done. But I do think we're going to beat them. So
let's not forget, guys. We just seem to gloss this over. It happened. We only lost 2. We beat Kentucky 13-12. We could have lost that football game. We were tied with Florida with 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. We could have easily lost that football game. That's 4 losses right there, Andy. Okay.
But
I know I'm playing the what if, and it's stupid to do. But you just brought up that Bama lost 4, and we're just going to discount them. Georgia could have easily lost 4 last year. Okay. So by no means am I going to discount Bama at any time. Sorry.
No, not at all. Yeah.
I really hate to. This is funny. This was not planned, so this just riffing right now. But what pops into my head when you're talking about the difference between Georgia's 11-3 and going maybe 8-4, it reminds me. Clark Lee said it at Media Day. The difference between 2-10 and 10-2 was, I think they had 8 one-score games. 8.
Oh, gosh.
Like that was the difference for Vandy last year. Very, very tight margins, and Georgia kind of saw that, last year, and a lot of close games. It was the first year where you kind of come into this year, and I think this is what impacts the view of Georgia right now. Is last year was the first year in a little bit where Georgia really didn't get its younger players playing time outside of Tennessee Tech, outside of the other few games where Georgia was supposed to handle it. Georgia really didn't get the guys that didn't get to play due to injury playing time. There's a lot of unknowns with this team, which I feel like that kind of adds to, even though Georgia's still being given credit for being Georgia, for seeing that Power G logo and having Kirby Smart on the sidelines, they're still being given the credit, but they're being held back a little bit because, hey, the new sheriff is in town. That's Arch Manning and his Longhorns, who they were picked to win the SEC, gentlemen.
They were, but the thing is, you talk about how the close scores and all that, but then we went to Texas and pounded them. So it was such a weird season last year. Like the games it probably shouldn't have been so easy. They pounded them, and then we got really close, almost lost to Georgia Tech. So there was a lot of craziness last year. So I think we're gonna hopefully get back to some normal, like normal Kirby Smart ground and pound, good defense this year. That's what I'm hoping we get to.
Well, Harrison, you bring that up, but that makes me think about the Kentucky game and the Mississippi State game, right? Those are games where Carson Beck should be on the sideline yucking it up in the second half, and that didn't happen in those games. Tech, for example, okay? That was a dogfight. We all know what happened in that game. That's another game you should pound your opponent into submission, and this is what happened when we won the first national championship in 21, again in 22. The second half, all the scrubs are in there. Sorry, I'm not knocking you guys, but that's what you are. You're scrubs in there, and you're getting some playing time. We had almost none of that last year. So that really hurt us going into the postseason and going in. We didn't have the depth of experience that we'd had in years past.
And unless you have something to add, Andy, I think this is a perfect segue into what we're excited about and what we are concerned about. Andy or Eddie, you just talked about the depth as a question. Let's start with the concerns. I put depth as my concern. One of my biggest concerns for Georgia, because when you
Sorry, I kind of stole your
you're good.
There.
No, that is a perfect segue. Perfect segue. Don't apologize at all. The depth, when you look at two deep, you compare this two deep to the past two deeps. And I think this goes for everybody around college football. Shout out to the legend Paul Meharry. The forever intern himself has made an appearance in chat. We appreciate you. Georgia's too deep. When you come back in 4 years and look at it, I don't know if you're ever going to be able to look at the too deep and say, oh, they had a first-round pick starting. They had another first-round pick behind them. Yeah. Then they had a freshman, and this is getting into 3 deep, who became a first-round pick over the next 3 years. I don't know if Georgia's 2 deep or 3 deep looks like that.
No.
And this year,
but can I stop you right there, Harrison,
yeah.
and just interject? Does anybody in the country really have that anymore? Because things have changed so radically in college football, right?
It's saying there are no more super teams. When what PGA had in 2021 and 2022 and 2023
will never be replicated.
Talking about the offensive line. I mean, you see guys going out that is a 5-star. Oh, who do we bring in? Oh, 5-star. And that was, now you're starting some 3-stars and you're bringing in more 3-stars. Super teams are no longer because of NIL.
Just real quick, Harrison, and you can take it from here. Those 3-stars that are sitting behind the 5-stars come in thinking, okay, I'm going to be playing this year. They don't. They're out of here. They're gone. So there's no development anymore. That's the depth thing you're talking about, right, Harrison?
Yeah, Kirby Smart called it the deterioration of football, because you have like a 1 to 2 year window to get these guys ready. Yeah. I think about, Elijah Griffin, for example, and this is maybe a poor example because the guy, by all accounts, is ready to play football right now at Georgia. But Georgia's going to have to count on a true freshman to play meaningful snaps at defensive tackle. And it's not because the guys in front of them aren't ready to do it, because I think there's people with a lot of faith in Christian Miller, a lot of faith in Xavier McLeod, but just the depth in that room is not what it used to be. No, you're not trotting out Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, and Jalen Carter. Those are, and to Eddie's point and to Chris's point, nobody else has that like it used to be. It's not what it used to be, but you don't exactly need it anymore. It's not about, can this Georgia team beat the 2021 Georgia team? It's, can this Georgia team beat everybody else in the field?
Right. Yeah. And now 10-2 is acceptable. Like when 3 years ago, if you didn't go undefeated, you may not be in the playoff. And now you go 10-2, you're right there at it, and be healthy. So,
and you brought up Elijah Griffin. So if Elijah Griffin goes through this year, let's say the guys in front of him ball out and he barely sees the field or sees it, the late, that's exactly right, Andy. He's out of here. He's gone.
Texas comes calling with that big
That's
bag.
right. He's gone. So there goes your depth piece and your developmental piece for next year.
Yeah.
Good call, Harrison.
We hammered that home. Gentlemen, what do y'all have for your first concern?
Andy, go ahead.
All right. Well, my first concern is offensive line. We lost 3 starters on the offensive line last year. You lost Jared Wilson, who went to the NFL. You lost Tate Ratledge and Dylan Fairchild. 2 third-round picks, 1 second-round pick. How do we replace those guys? Is Monroe Freeland and Ernest Green, are they ready to hold those tackle spots? That's what scares me. You got a new starting quarterback. how are those tackle spots going to do? Can they protect his blind side? That's scary. And then is Drew Bobo a legit starter in the SEC? And if his name was Drew Smith, would we all be scared? I don't know. But it's just like, is he a legit starter at center? We're going from Jared Wilson to Drew Bobo. Yeah. And so that's my biggest concern right now is the offensive line.
Chris Taylor brought up a good point, though. I mean, that offensive line was decimated last year, the injury bug.
It was.
And there was zero continuity last year.
There was none, and that is a good thing because Drew Bobo got a lot of experience last
year.
Well,
yeah. And from that aspect, yes.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I don't know. My main concern, and I'll always be most concerned about lines of scrimmage. I build from inside out. So, yeah, always lines of scrimmage for me. Alex Page.
Wow.
You bring up a good point in terms of people talk about the last name with Arch Manning. Like if it was Arch Smith, where would he be rated? How much would he be talking about? I think we all know the answer to that one. And that's not a discredit to Arch Manning himself. It's just the last name plays a big factor in some paparazzi and all that. 100%. Huge factor. With Drew Bobo, I do think obviously there's people within the fan base that are very skeptical and think, oh, he's only here because Mike Bobo's here. But then you go turn on Cole Kubelik. You go turn on some of those other experts, someone who covers the game, who has played the game, and they talk about Drew Bobo as a hey,
NFL,
not as much of a question mark.
Center. Yes.
Yeah, somebody who he's not really worried about. Because if anybody knows the offense, it's going to be Drew Bobo.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it is interesting in terms of that point. Eddie, what is your, I guess, first concern? I don't want to say biggest concern, but if it is your biggest concern, feel free to let us know.
It's biggest and first, and it's the complete opposite of what Andy said, although Andy made a good point. The defensive line and the sacks.
Same thing.
So 2024, we had 34 sacks. Not a bad number. We had 37 the year prior to that. We had 43 in 22, and we had 47 in 21, okay? Now, that's not good. We've got to up that number. But I think what that turned into was the turnover margin was really bothersome to me. We were -1 in turnover margin last year. And I think that's big. The biggest part of that was the defensive line not making the quarterback sacks, pressures, hurries, all that, just knock him off his spot, right? We had 18 gained and 19 lost in turnovers last year. That's pathetic, okay? The year prior to that, we were +6, +16. And, you got to do something about this defensive line. Can Kristen Miller finally be that guy, right? That's what we're kind of sitting here waiting for that next Jalen Carter. Is it Jordan Thomas? Is it Jordan Hall? Is JJA going to be healthy finally? Xavier McLeod, you brought him up, Harrison. We got to have that push from the zero technique up the middle to disrupt things and make the back end make some plays. That's my biggest concern.
I think edge for me, Eddie and Andy, is probably my biggest question mark. I feel better about the interior when I look at this Georgia team.
Do you really?
Talk about Chris.
Do you really?
I do because
wow.
You talk about a guy like Kristen Miller. He's played a lot of snaps. I think he probably has the third or fourth most interior snaps, the most returning of the guys Georgia has returning. I like Xavier McLeod. I know that was a guy that Brent Rollins, when he does his Film Don't Lie, was pretty high on in terms of his ability to stack and shed to help against the run game. You could turn on those last few games of the year, played tremendous football down the stretch for Georgia. I like him. And then Jordan Hall. I think he and Kristen Miller, my biggest question, is health. Can they stay healthy? Kristen Miller missed time last year. Jordan Hall missed a lot of time.
Yeah,
and really
he had stress fractures in his feet, right? I mean, you can't do anything as a defensive lineman with stress. I mean, you can't push off.
Yeah. So
we need him. He's 320 pounds. That's what we need, that guy. So.
And that's a 5-star guy. That's a 5-star guy right there. Exactly. So I feel better about the interior than I do edge. And most of my concerns about the edge game is just you don't have much in terms of, hey, here's what we know. Like Gabe Harris, love what he did versus Kentucky. The guy was tremendously undersized. And they had him playing 3-tech. They had him playing on the interior because a guy like Warren Brinson was down with injury. They needed him to just be versatile, and he played well. I like Gabe Harris a lot, but when you go to the guys behind him, Quintavious Johnson, another formerly high-rated prospect, hasn't seen much playing time. They need him to step up and play well. They got Elo Mendoza, who, again, people are high on.
That's my guy right there. I can't wait to watch this kid play.
Yeah. So he played well at Army. Now you got to see what he can do in the SEC. That's kind of where I'm at right now in terms. I think the edge, I'm more confident in the interior than I am the edge, just right now.
Okay.
I did see somewhere, I can't remember who it was, but they had predicted Mendoza was going to get like double-digit sacks. Like they were thinking 10 or 11 sacks. If he does that, then we may be. Yeah, that's huge.
Wasn't that Josh Pate that said he was going to be like the defensive player of the year or something? I think something like that.
You're right. I think it was.
I don't know about that, but I mean, that's a big jump to go from Army to Georgia and do that. But the kid plays. This is what I love about a kid coming in from Army. I say kid, young man. They play at those places because they love the game. There's no money involved at Army, right? Yeah. They love the football game. They would get after it. And this Mendoza kid has got an absolute motor, much like David Pollock, that just doesn't stop. And that's what I've heard about him, and that's what I love to hear.
Yeah.
I guess let's start off with second concerns. I'll go ahead and get started. And y'all might hammer me on this, but it's not really a concern. It's more so just a question mark. And it's kind of like a wait and see for me. It's the receiver group. Georgia can't lead the nation in drops again. Shoot me if you heard that before, or if you haven't heard that before. You can't do it. It cannot happen. But, and I know they brought in some transfers. You brought in Zachariah Branch. You brought in some talented freshmen. I think Taylor is going to see the field this year.
Yeah.
Other guys are probably going to see the field at some point this year.
CJ Wiley's going to see the field.
CJ Wiley.
Yeah.
They're going to see the field at this point. But, and this isn't a concern for me. It's just more so, like I said, a wait and see. Every year it feels like there's been a hint of, oh, is this the year Georgia's receiving room is a strength? Obviously, when you had Ladd McConkey and you had Brock Bowers, you had no concerns about your pass catchers.
No.
So those years excluded. But does Georgia have true difference makers at this position like you see with these other programs? People say they're looking like it. You look at the depth chart, you feel good about Noah Thomas. You feel good about Colby Young. You feel solid about Dylan Bell. But they have to go out and do it. So I know that's a position we're going to talk about a lot. So it's not really a concern for me, but it's just I'm not going to go out of my way and say, I guess I am, really betting hard on these guys are going to break the mold in terms of Georgia, is having an elite receiving core.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, that's completely fair, Harrison, because where's our Jeremiah Smith? Where's our Ryan Williams? I mean, we got a group of guys that are really good together, right, as a whole, but we don't have that one standout guy other than maybe Pickens. We had him. He was hurt a lot, right? But Pickens may have been that. We have not really had that in the receiver room. That guy's a beast. You better account for him on defense or he's going to torch you. We don't have that. Now we might this year, right? With maybe CJ Wiley's that guy. Maybe Dylan Bell has that breakout type of season. We don't know, but I have no problem with what you said, Harrison, at all. I think you're 100% right.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, Andy, I know we went to you second, so we'll go to you again. What's your second concern?
My second concern is Brett Thorson healthy? I know that sounds weird, but he tore his ACL. He was a weapon for us. And what is he now? If he's not healthy, we're going to be starting Drew Miller, and which, he's highly touted, but this is a weapon. And if he's not healthy, do we have a weapon because again, you're starting a new quarterback.
And forgive me, Andy, did he tear that where did he tear his ACL?
It was versus Texas. Yeah, he tore that
in the SEC championship?
In the SEC championship.
Okay. So that means.
Yeah, so we're talking that's December. Now we're 8 months away. So
geez.
That's a scary thing. So if he's not healthy, I'm worried about the punting game. And because I do believe
and let's see, tell me about the plant foot and where he tore his right ACL.
I think it's his plant foot. I believe it's his plant foot.
Is it? Yeah,
his plant foot.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm worried about Brett Thorson. If he's not healthy, that is a weapon because with Thorson and Peyton Woodring, we have the best 1-2 punch and in special teams in the country. Now maybe we don't. So yeah, he's a big.
Harrison, was he brought up at all at media days? Did you hear anything about Brett Thorson, just his health and status or anything?
He was not brought up at media days. He was brought up in the spring. I believe if my recollection is correct, I think they're counting on him being back for week 1. I think that's the latest indication. And I put this on the board when it happened. In full disclosure, I saw him downtown back in the spring without a brace, without anything, which is not
doesn't mean
irregular or anything. Yeah. So he is walking around. I do know there is a picture back in the spring scrimmage that they uploaded, and you can see Thorson in the background in pads. I can't speak to his participation at that said scrimmage, but he was at least over there in pads watching the scrimmage from that photo.
Who is his backup? I don't know that.
Drew Miller.
Drew Miller.
Yeah, and he punted last year. Remember, he was in the Notre Dame game.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
And
how is he? I mean,
he was highly touted. So that is that is the thing.
But he's not Brett Thorson.
No, because we know what Brett Thorson is. Yeah. So but no, that is a very big concern for me.
Eddie, how about you?
Y'all are probably going to hate me for saying this.
Already
listeners will too.
Already do. Yeah,
I know. Alabama. That's my concern.
Ooh.
And I brought it up to you guys earlier, right? It's the Florida of the 90s. That's where we are. And I know it's stupid to say, well, that's the fourth game of the year. You shouldn't be worried about that. I'm not a player. They don't talk about that. They talk about Marshall. I'm a fan, okay? Until we get Alabama out of our heads, they are a problem, okay? And here's what concerns me most about Alabama is he brought back Kalen DeBoer, we were talking about him earlier. He brought back Ryan Grubb, who ran it up with him as his OC at Washington. They destroyed it out there. I understand Pac-12, whatever the hell they were in, it wasn't the SEC. I get all that. But they ran it up out there, okay? And did you guys notice in draft day there weren't a lot of Alabama players picked? You know why? Because they all stayed at Alabama.
They all come back.
Yeah, they all came back. And he had the number 3 recruiting class last year. So it's not like Alabama's is going away and they got they got problems. I mean, the pick 6 preview I got right here, they're picked to finish second above us in the SEC. Okay. Really? And I don't think that's crazy to say. We're picked to finish third on that. And I don't think nationally, you're right, Harrison. Alabama seems to be a little bit forgotten about because Nick Saban's not the big monster there. But until Georgia beats them, they're a problem for us. And I don't think, how am I going to word this? I don't think Georgia's going to have a special season if they go out there and lose at home. And how awful would this be? Lose that home winning streak to Alabama in Sanford Stadium at night. Okay. I just think if that happens, because we might see them again in the playoffs, the SEC championship or whatever, it's just going to be constantly in their heads and it's in Kirby's head. We've got to get over that hump. Sanford Stadium at night, beat those jerks. We've got to do it.
Can anyone, either of you, do either of you remember the last night home game Georgia lost?
Well, we lost to South Carolina at home, but I was there, but that wasn't at night, right?
No,
that was during the day.
It was during the Rick years. And I can give y'all the answer because I looked this up.
Was it Vanderbilt?
It was not. It was 2009 Kentucky. It was the last time Kentucky has beaten Georgia.
Oh, wow. Well, I was at that Vanderbilt game, but that must have been before that then. Are you sure about that? Because that was the homecoming game we were at. Maybe that was during the day. I don't know, but that was during the day. Okay. But I left. It was awful. So anyway, we're beyond that.
Eddie, to your point, when you talk about the streak, that Alabama's taken the last 2 streaks. They took the overall win streak. I think it was 30 games. They took that in the SEC championship. Then they took the regular season win streak this past year.
Yeah.
Now we're talking Bama's coming to town for the first time since 2015, and you got a home winning streak, the longest.
You know they're talking about that right now. They are.
You know Kirby's talking about that too. So that don't.
No, he's not. Yeah. No, he's not.
Look,
I don't think so.
I know Kirby says next game. Do you not think he's got something playing in that place right now talking about Alabama?
I hope you're right. And maybe you're right. He's showing that loop of that horrible Ryan Williams spinning like a top and scoring there, and then Carson underthrowing that ball that could have won the game. Yeah, so maybe you're right, Andy. I hope so.
We get them this year. We're getting them.
Let's turn the page to what excites us. Eddie, you went last. I'm gonna let you go first. Eddie, what excites you about this Georgia team?
They're not last year. That's the first thing. No, I'm kidding. That was not my talking point. It's the running back room. I am really excited about this running back room. And granted, it all is based on health because that's what killed us last year. But Nate Frazier is special. Okay. And that kid, just go back and watch him make some runs. I've never seen legs on a running back move like his do. And then you bring in Josh McCray from Illinois, and this Josh McCray young man, believe it or not, had very similar statistics to Nate Frazier last year. He had like 609 yards and 10 rushing TDs. I think Frazier had close to that, something like that. But that to me is your thunder and lightning combo. Okay. And you got Cash Jones still there. And I'm very curious to see who breaks out of this freshman/sophomore class. Is it Phillips? Is it Bo Walker? You know, who's going to see Chauncey Bowens? Who's going to see the field? Cash Jones is still there. He's going to be playing. But I'm curious what you guys' take is on this. So we play Marshall in the first game. And obviously Nate Frazier goes out there. He's going to be the starting running back. Who is the number 2 running back to come in and spell him? Who's the first running back to come in? Andy?
Well, I think it's McCray. I do. I just.
You do? Okay. Is that the easy answer?
I think so. But,
you do? I think it's going to be Roderick Robinson. That's my guy. I think if he's healthy, he's your guy because he's been in this program. And when he came out in that Tech game, I know it was a couple of plays. My hair stood on end because that kid's electric. When he's healthy, he's really, really good. Is he healthy? I'm going to go with him just because he's not a transfer. He's a Georgia kid, but I understand what you're saying about McCray. No doubt.
I think his experience gives him the heads up. And plus, look where he played. I mean, he played for Fran Brown, so that's a big thing.
That's true. That's true. But I love the running backs. Love them.
Yeah.
Any question from Alex Page? Which back will get more than 20 carries or at least carries in crunch time?
Yeah.
To me, I would assume in crunch time you're feeding Frazier.
You're free.
Just because he can stay on the field and passing downs.
And don't discount Cash Jones during those
times. I know. That's exactly what I'm thinking. And it's crazy. I thought about this week when we were talking about the number 2. What if he puts in Cash Jones as number 2? He could very well do that.
Is it going to be?
Now, I know he's more of a passing, catching running back. Yeah. But Kirby loves those vets who've given their heart, blood, sweat, and tears to this program. And Cash Jones has done exactly that. And he's absolutely a weapon, no doubt about it. So
if you get the third down and it's 3rd and 8, I bet they try Cash out. I would say it would be. But now if it's 3rd and 1, you're looking at McCray. So that's.
But one more thing. We didn't have this last year, and Frazier's not that guy. If it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, 2nd and 2, who's the guy to push that line to get over there? And we didn't have that last year. I think Josh McCray is that guy. He's a bowling ball to get those first downs if Roderick is not in the mix there.
Yeah.
Andy, what excites you about this Georgia team?
Well, I'm excited about the wide receivers and in particular Noah Thomas and Colby Young. I do think we have 2 legit guys that can stretch the field. And they're tall, 6'3", 6'4", they're big guys. And I think they can go up and make that, that contested catch. We haven't seen that. A lot of our guys are a little bit shorter. So I'm excited to see those guys. I think we have 2 legit deep threat guys that can go up and make the play. So I'm excited about the wide receivers. I really think that our wide receivers are going to be a weapon this year versus what they have been in the past years.
I'm over here smirking.
Your excitement is Harrison's concern.
It is, yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
I know, not to get off track, because I promise we are not stalling. We're just getting through what we want to get through, and then we're getting Eddie's.
We'll pick it up.
Raise rant is coming. Yeah, we're picking it up. I guess the thing that excites me, and this one may be, there's going to be some folks that disagree here. Is Gunnar Stockton. I mean, when you talk about kid in terms of the player, his teammates love him.
Yes.
The way they talk about him, it reminds you of the years with Stetson Bennett.
I'm
not saying Gunnar Stockton's going to go out there and play at, Heisman finalist Stetson Bennett level. It's just the way they talk about the kid. I mean, you go back to the spring, and I asked Zachariah Branch about what he knew about Georgia before he hit the portal or before he committed to him. And Gunnar Stockton was a reason. He said Gunnar Stockton was a reason that he came to Georgia. He said when he visited, he went and saw Georgia practice and bowl practice and watched Gunnar Stockton throw the ball and watch that Georgia offense play. And he said Gunnar Stockton was a big reason why he came to Georgia, which to me, that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about one of the top receivers, expected to be one of the top receivers in this team, going into a quote money year. When he can go to the NFL draft at the end of this year, he's putting his money in a quarterback who's only started in 2 games or in 1 game.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes to me.
Yeah.
Eddie, what's your second excitement about this team?
Well, I love yours, Harrison, because that's part of my excitement, but it's also part of my nervousness, and that's fair, right? Because he's unproven at this point, but I can't wait to see what he does. It's a linebacking crew. This linebacking crew is the best in the nation. It is. And it's pick six previews. I'm looking at it right now. Brent Sianka, he picked them as the number one linebacking core in the country. I don't think he's alone in that. I mean, CJ Allen, you start there. All right. He may be the next Roquan Smith, but I mean, how do you keep Justin Williams off the field? Right. I mean, you got just dudes up and down the line. Chris Cole, Ryan, you got Elo Modozi. We talked about him coming off the edge. I know that's an edge player, but that's still part of the linebacking core. And Q and Chris Jones. It's ridiculous what these guys can do. But the concern is, can the defensive line hold those guys up and allow them to make free plays like they should as linebackers, right? That's my concern. But if they can do that, I think this linebacking core is going to make some real noise this year.
Real quick, before we move to Andy and what excites him, I think linebacker might be the exception to the rule. One of the exceptions in terms of the two deep looks just as stacked as it did 4 years ago in terms of you're looking at, hey, potential first-round pick, potential first-round pick, potential first-round pick. Like, we're talking about a bunch of potential linebacker ones in their draft class at that position.
Yeah.
I think that's the one exception. Andy, what about you?
Well, I'm going to piggyback on Eddie a little bit, though. Phil Steele has Georgia's unit ranked 7th. Their linebackers unit ranked 7th. So just it's a little different. Yeah.
7th?
Yeah. He's got
a little low for my taste.
He's got Texas as 1, Michigan is 2, Notre Dame, Oklahoma.
What?
Penn State, then the Dogs. So, but
if Phil Steele hitting the weed or something, I mean, my goodness, what is wrong with that? 7th? That's ridiculous.
But he also picked Georgia to win the SEC, where, as you said, that your book said Georgia would go 3rd. But anyway, but my other thing that excites me, I was concerned about the punter. I'm over the moon with Peyton Woodring is kicking. He went 21 for 23, and the only 2 he missed were over 50 yards. He missed a 55-yarder versus Mississippi State and a 53-yarder versus Tech. Dude hit 48 of 48 points after touchdowns. Come on, that guy, he's money. So yeah, I'm a weapon. Like I said, Peyton Woodring is a weapon for the Dolls. So I'm excited about him.
With parity now, it's like the NFL. Your kicker is, to me, if I was a coach, I would take the number 1 kicker every year out of high school or transfer or whatever. Everything.
And we did this year. We did get the number 1.
I know. But I'm just saying, overall, like the NFL, everything comes down to 1 or 2 plays, and it could be that kick at the end to win or lose the game. Give me the best kicker in the nation.
Yep.
100%. I love it, Andy. That's a great call.
Speaking about kryptonites for Alabama, I feel like kicker's always been like a kryptonite, especially in the Saban era. When you go back and watch some of those Alabama games, I mean, it's everywhere. Georgia's really been pretty consistent. I mean, you talk about punter too. Georgia's had a great run here. I mean, you go from Rodrigo Blankenship, Jack Podlesny, to Peyton Woodring. Then on the punter side, you have Cam Nislik, Jake Camarda, Brett Thorson, Hope and Drew Miller turns into it's been a run, guys. It's been quite the run.
I think Brett Thorson told everybody how important a weapon the punter is in that Tennessee game when he downed it at the 1.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And then the next couple of plays, we doggone made a safety. That was the most ridiculous call I've ever seen. But literally, that was a 70-something yard punt. Totally flipped that game on its head.
Yep.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, what excites me, the second thing, and I think there's part of it where you can have a question. I think there's 2 parts where you have questions about it, but I think overall, the secondary really excites me. I mean, you bring back 2 first-team All-SEC potential players in Dalen Everett and KJ Bolden. I mean, another freshman safety that comes into Georgia's lineup and plays well. Yeah. And the thing that made KJ's a little bit different from Malachi's was KJ had to play alongside and compete with a veteran Dan Jackson who was a hero for Georgia at multiple times of the season.
A baller, yeah.
Don't know if I had Dan Jackson playing as pivotal of a role. I don't know many who did going into the year, but ended up being phenomenal.
Hey, Harrison, no one did.
Yeah. So KJ, exceptional freshman season, playing along 2 veteran safeties. Excited what we see about him. Now he's the leader in the room. And then Dalen Everett. The guy catches so much flack.
He does.
The guy, the guy was getting thrown away from the last half of that season, which is why you saw Daniel Harris, a Julian Humphrey kind of get picked on. Is they don't want to throw to Dalen Everett. Heck, he did it twice and he paid for it each time. Quinn Ewers learned he doesn't want to throw at Dalen Everett.
He learned that quick, didn't he?
Learned it really quick.
Harrison, I think what you say is awesome, but it goes back to kind of what I was saying too last year. The quarterbacks sat in the backfield, fixed their lunch, ate it, and then found a receiver downfield. And oh my God, Dalen Everett sucks. Can't he guard somebody? Well, he's trying to guard somebody for 8 seconds or whatever. You can't do that. You got to have that pressure up the middle to help you on the back end. Yep. Right. And if they do, that showed up a little in the Texas game. And what happened with Dalen Everett? MVP, right? He dominated.
How many times
did we
sack Ewers that game? Was it 6 or?
There you go. That's what I'm saying.
I think
he was running for his life.
Yeah. Might have been 7. And that's what he was.
I think they sacked him a total of 15 times between 2 games.
Hey, real quick, Harrison, what do you see out of Ellis Robinson? Is he going to finally make that 5-star push this year and be an impact player?
I think we talk about it all the time, and I know y'all probably talked about it here before. In terms of how these position battles work under Smart, it seems like the veteran guy, the guy who's been here longer, gets the nod to start the year until that 5-star true freshman or former 5-star player proves it and beats him out over time in the season. I expect Ellis Robinson and DeMello Jones to get on the field this year. I think Ellis Robinson's probably going to be the one starting across from Dalen Everett by the end of the year.
Okay.
Really?
Okay. That was my next question. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you see him make that push and kind of do what Keely Ringo did in 21, where Keely, I think he was behind Amir Speed for like 4 or 5 games and then was the full-time starter. So I think you see Ellis make that push. I would have been curious if Ellis hadn't gotten hurt last year, how much run he would have gotten last year when Julian opted out right before the SEC championship game. But I think him not getting on the field, I don't think that's a referendum on him. I just think that's, hey, got veterans in front of him. Playing corner in the SEC is a hard thing to do. Yes. Not exactly a plug-and-play deal for Ellis Robinson.
Okay, well, just putting you on the spot right now. How many games does Ellis Robinson start at cornerback this year?
He said he's going to be starter from day one, didn't you?
No, he said by the end of the year.
I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
You're good.
Sorry.
Yeah. I think he ends up starting I think 4 to 6 is kind of where I'm putting it. So maybe that's the back.
So maybe he starts in the Alabama game.
Ooh.
Might be a little rich for me. But I do think Ellis probably sees. Yeah, I think Ellis, or I guess I was more so saying like, hey, he'll start 4 to 6 games. Yeah.
Eddie's brain's old, dude. You gotta draw him circles for this man. So.
You'll see Ellis Robinson on the field this year. I feel pretty confident about that. Gentlemen, I know we brought up the magazines at various points tonight. Let's just, I know people are dying for the Braves rant, so we'll kind of breeze through this a little bit.
You know what, Harrison? Let's just skip over that. We'll do that next week. Let's just go on to the Braves and the Falcons.
Yeah. It's when we came together to do this show, didn't think we'd be talking much about the Braves, to be quite honest with you. And there's been really nothing to talk about other than how incompetent they've been from the very beginning of the offseason, gentlemen.
Incompetent? That's a kind word for this team. But go ahead. No. I was kind of throwing y'all the ball on a little screenplay. Sorry, gentlemen, if I don't like screenplays.
Don't worry.
Where are we going to take this?
It's good. They are only 16 and a half games out of the NL East, and they just
half. I had 16. You're at 16 and a half now?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. Breaking news. They went out and traded with the St. Louis Cardinals and got Eric Fetty or whatever.
Yes.
That dude is 3-10 with a 5.22 ERA.
He's perfect.
He sucks. And that's what we're looking at the whole time. Look, I love the Braves as much as anyone. I mean, I'm rocking the camo Braves hat. They're terrible, dude. Like, everyone has got to be on the trade block. But who's going to take a DH with a bum hip? Who's going to take a closer that can't get an out? That's the problem. It's like you don't have anyone that you can trade that's got any value. But if I'm AA, I think you have to listen to, kill me. I think you have to listen to Ronald Acuna. If you can get 5 elite prospects, you got to listen, because if this team is the same team next year, you're going to be looking at the same thing. I mean, and who knows what's going to happen? I mean, your best pitcher broke his elbow. How do you do that? And then Chris Sale, what's he going to be? He's a year older. So I don't know, man. This is being a Braves fan. This is sad. It's sad. Trade them all. Trade them all.
Eddie, before you hop on your bar stool real quick, and people are dying for it, so I'm going to delay it just a minute longer. Gentlemen, I know it sucks this year, just by our circumstances, but I don't think it's blow it up scenario just right now. In terms of like the core of this team, I don't think you trade Ronald Acuna. I don't think you get rid of Matt Olson. I think you can keep the core, but replace the guys around them. I mean, just in my take. I think obviously Ozuna is not going to be brought back. No. Trade him at the deadline. I think he's
not being traded at the
Atlanta's
deadline.
Gone.
I don't think he's being traded, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think you can keep Ronald Acuna and try and rebuild this thing around him. Now you're going to have to rip out the smelly carpet in the the bullpen. You're going to have to rip out the smelly carpet in terms of the guys who are not getting on base. I mean, 6 through 9 is an absolute travesty right now in terms of the batting order. But I don't know if I'm full tear it down and rebuild right now.
Before Eddie goes, Sean Murphy is batting .233 with a .320 OBP. Austin Riley is .267 with a .318. Drake Baldwin's the only bright. Ozzie Albies has a .294 on base percentage. Trade him. Michael Harris, .253. Trade him. Talking about the core.
Wait, Michael's playing really well lately. He changed his batting stance. We got to keep him.
Ship him out. Ship him out. The core sucks. Get the core going and come and start again. Eddie, go ahead. Take it home, dude.
All right.
Just for this, Eddie,
it's all been cute here. Cute little take there. No, don't put me on I can't stand being on the screen. Put y'all back up. I got to see y'all's faces. Don't do that. Harrison just put me up there alone. I can't stand that. So
neither can I.
This is a management problem from the top. Okay. It is a management problem. They have been living off of 2021, the World Series championship, which was beyond anything any of us could have expected. It was incredible to be at that parade with my son, to watch them win.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Amazing. Okay. They caught lightning in a bottle on the cheap, and it worked. Give them credit. It was great. That is over. They have watched players walk out the door for nothing. I know you know what I'm talking about. Freddie Freeman, Dansby Swanson. Okay. Would you take Dansby Swanson right now? I would. Oh, yeah. Max Fried walked out the door. This team and management is not willing to spend the money that they are making hand over fist, literally 20 miles down the road from me. Okay. Let me tell you guys what this boils down to. There's revenue sharing in MLB. You guys are aware of this, okay? All the TV stuff that the Dodgers get, huge contracts. The Yankees get huge contracts. The Braves get somewhat, not as big. That's all shared. They only get 50% of that, okay? The money that the Braves make at the Battery, beer sales, costs to get into wherever, the rents down there with all that stuff, they keep 100% of that money. 100%. They are making money hand over fist. And what did they do last year? They got Jerks and Profar. Whoopee frickin'
and he's roided up.
And he's roided up out for 80 games. That's what they did, okay? And that's why as a fan, I am angry as you know what at this team, because they have shown over and over they're not willing to negotiate with Freddie Freeman, who's a god in this town, still is, for one more year.
Yeah.
And pay him a little bit more to keep him home, to pay Dansby Swanson. Andy, you said it, overpay him, but he's here as a leader. Max Fried, just let him walk out the door. That's why I'm with Andy. Trade Ronald Acuna, because he's going to walk out the door.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm predicting next year or maybe the year after, Acuna's going to sit out. I don't know if that's allowed in the MLB. I don't know, but his contract is minuscule compared to what's going on in the MLB. He's gone. Acuna is gone, and they're not going to re-sign him. So if they don't do something now with him or in the next couple of years, he's going to walk out the door. I am fed up with how this Braves organization has been run. And if they go out and do the cheap thing next year, I'm about done with this team.
They just got Eric Fetty, or I say his name.
Exactly. Now, this year is a disaster. They can't do anything right now, okay? And there's no trade or anything at the deadline they can do. but they got to start shedding some contracts. And I'll say it right now, Alex Anthopoulos has made some bad moves with this team. Ozzie Albies, Michael Harris, they signed him up long term. Yes, they got Ronald Acuna. I'll give him that, but that's a cheap deal. And you brought up Austin Riley. I'm gonna rail on this kid right now. He should be MVP caliber for this team, and he has not been even close to that. Nothing. So it's a disaster. And I'm sorry, Harrison, you're completely wrong. This is a rebuild. You've got to rebuild this baseball team. You've got to.
I keep harping on it. It goes back to trading for Sean Murphy. You traded William Contreras, who was a budding start catcher, for a guy that you thought was your new JT Realmuto, and he's not. And you traded your young stud. You could have Wild Bill, and you could have Drake Baldwin catching, and you would still have Freddie Freeman. You would still have Max Fried. And it's Alex Anthopoulos. He caught lightning in a bottle. He made some great moves. But who would have thought Eddie Rosario was going to go stupid and Jorge Soler? I mean, the home run Soler hits still traveling. I just saw it go by a minute ago. But that's not happening again. So everybody, like, you're signing and Spencer Strider. I mean, he's got the elbow. Who knows what he's going to be?
Right.
They're in a bad spot. They're not in a good. I'm worried about next
year.
I
keep saying it. Wednesday night, a week from Wednesday, high school football starts. Okay, and that will be on my TV, and the Braves will no longer be on my TV. Now they're in the background. I don't pay much attention to them anyway, but that's gone starting next week. You're done. Lying.
I know you're lying. You'll be this text.
I really have not watched a Braves game in a week, Andy. I have not watched any of it. I just can't. It's so painful to watch.
It is.
Had a friend tell me this morning that he turned off the live score updates because it just makes him too depressed even to see it. So
Bryce Elder got shelled today. Like, I mean,
that's Paul Maharry's boy. Don't you go knocking Bryce Elder.
Paul Maharry compares him to Greg Maddux. He was like, "Yeah, Mad Dog could only throw 89." Blah blah blah.
The dream might be more competitive. Whoever wrote that, I like that, Alex. That's good.
Oh God.
For those who were waiting for the Eddie from Acworth rant, I hope he delivered. He certainly did deliver. That was awesome. Gentlemen, from depressing to potentially hopeful. I don't know. I met some depressed Falcons fans a lot in my lifetime. I don't know where you all stand on them.
We're all depressed, Harrison. We're all depressed.
It's the Falcons. Come on.
Gentlemen, Michael Penix came out, I believe it was within the last few days, and said he believes they're going to have one of the best offenses in the league. I guess, so we'll start, actually, rewind. Personally, I had this team winning 10, 11 games last year and making the playoffs with Kirk Cousins. I was buying the Kool-Aid. I was thinking they're going to be competitive and make a run. That didn't happen. Now, I'm like, okay, I want to buy the Kool-Aid. I want to drink the Kool-Aid again. But I'm like, ooh, are they going to mess this up again? What's going to go wrong next? Where do y'all sit in terms of, let's take a temperature check. Where does Andy Stowe, where does Eddie from Acworth feel about this team?
I'll be quick, Eddie. Until they prove me wrong, this team will be somewhere in the 7-10, 8-9, 9-8 range. Prove me wrong. Every year I get excited. I think, okay, they got something going. And Cousins, I didn't want him because I was like, he's old. He's got the torn Achilles. I was like, you're overpaying.
Wait.
I got on board. I got on board.
I know, but you were against him. I can't rember when Paul was like, you were. I can't remember.
I was against signing because of the injury.
Age. Okay.
And then I was like, okay, we got him. I'm excited about him, and I was like, okay, let's go get him some help, and then we draft a quarterback. So until they prove me wrong, I'm going to say 7-10, 8-9, 9-8. You know, they'll be finishing in the same spot they always do and drafting in the same spot. Prove me wrong. That's all I can say. Prove me wrong.
Well, I was thrilled they took Jalen Walker. I almost fell off my chair when they did it, right?
They did have a great draft. This is the first draft I've been happy about. This is
the first draft that I've been like, okay, finally, right? Because I literally thought they were going to let Jalen Walker pass and they were going to do it on purpose again to us. Give him credit. They took him. They took James Pierce. I thought they were going to take him there instead of Jalen Walker, and they got him in addition to that. So I love that, but you can't rely on two rookies on the defensive line in the NFL, right? You just can't. But I'm excited about this team. I'm excited about the Falcons every year because I'm a sucker. I like lay my what's on the table, and they just pound them with a ball peen hammer every time. Okay, that's what the Falcons do to me. I'm used to it, Harrison. But this team will live and die by their head coach, Raheem Morris, and I'm afraid that Raheem Morris is not the guy. He cost us 2 at a minimum games last year with keeping timeouts in his pocket, horrible game clock management. Okay, he's still the head coach. And I don't know what Arthur Blank saw in this guy. I guess it was cheaper. I don't know, whatever. But I think that is going to be the problem with the Falcons. But overall, I think the Falcons are going to be a very competitive team this year, but they have got to make the playoffs. And really, believe it or not, this dome that Arthur Blank spent $1 billion on, there's never been a home Falcons playoff game in this thing. Can y'all believe that? Never.
Really?
They've got to do that.
God.
Never. What's been in there? The SEC championships, national championships, no Falcons, United wins, all that kind of stuff. Nothing from the Falcons. They've got to get, I'm not saying a home game. They've got to make the playoffs this year. Got to.
Yeah, I'm 100%. I think that's the expectation. If they don't, you don't get 2 mulligans. If you're Raheem Morris, you don't get 2 mulligans. Absolutely not.
I think part of that boils down to Arthur Blank. He ain't 70 anymore. He's 82. Okay. And he's still the owner, and he's got nothing to show for it. He wants a ring before he passes away. He just does. I mean, and I do too, for God's sake. Before I pass away, I'd like a ring I could celebrate with my Atlanta Falcons. So I think that changes the mindset. If he has a bad year or doesn't make the playoffs, I think Blank moves on.
But we thought that before, and he wouldn't get Belichick.
But he's 82, Andy. That's a big deal.
But he was 80 when he wouldn't get Belichick because they didn't want to give up control. Again, prove me wrong. Show me. Until you do it, I don't know, man. It's
understood.
Same thing. Every year, it's the same thing happens. But again, they had a good draft. That was the first step in 4 years that they've actually had a good draft. So hey, a little bit of optimism over here. And Alex Page,
they got a dog. I mean, how awesome is it for us 3 to sit down on Sunday and watch Jalen Walker take the field as an Atlanta Falcon and make plays? That's what I'm excited about.
And Michael Penix looks like the real deal.
Oh, Michael Penix is going to be great, provided he stays healthy.
Got to stay healthy, but he looks like he's a dude. So, yeah.
Speaking of Michael Penix, he did say he thinks they're going to have the best offense in the league. Again, this is an offensive league. There's a lot of masterminds in terms of the offense. If they're going to have the best offense in the league, you're going to need more than obviously Drake London and Darnell Mooney doing their thing. Kyle Pitts is going to have to do something.
He's got to.
Other than and that's the thing. Shorts, underwear, the underwear Olympics, Kyle Pitts looks good. He get on, the pads on, and he kind of goes away. And he does go away.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Florida Gator. That's all you got to say. He's a Gator.
Well, I will say this. He may be motivated this year, and whatever it takes to motivate the guy, this is a contract year for him. Yeah. He can make or break himself this year, right? And I'm not even talking about with the Falcons. I'm talking about with another team. If he goes out and balls out, that could be his second big contract. So maybe that works in our favor and use the guy, and he has a great year, whatever. But I mean, that number 4 pick was a joke if you look back on it now. Horrible pick.
Yeah,
gentlemen.
Go ahead, man.
Sorry. No, you're good. If Kyle Pitts does ball out, if he gets you 800 yards or more, are y'all wanting him re-signed at that point? Or is it just, hey, it's a money year, not doing this crap again?
I don't care. Make the playoffs, whatever. We'll deal with that next year. Who cares?
I say let him walk. Yeah, let him walk.
I don't have an opinion on it right now. I want to see the year play out.
Andy, you got a question in chat about your projection in terms of the 7 to 8 wins. Where was it?
It was from Alex Page, and it could win the division because the division is trash. It's
is it though? Is Tampa Bay trash?
Well, that's the only. That's the only really 2 good teams. And now I do think that Carolina is going to be pretty good too. So so
that ain't trash. Okay, and New Orleans, for whatever reason, like Bama, plays us like it's a Super Bowl, so it's no pushover that we're just going to beat New Orleans twice. So
not trash, but it's just like there's no stud team that you look at and say, "Oh, it's impossible to beat them." So I do think they can win the division. I do think that is a possibility. It's just a matter of, I don't know. It's 9 wins could win the division.
So. Fred F brings up a good point, and That's where we pass on to Kobe Dean. We took Troy Anderson right there. So no Kobe Dean says hello.
Dude, we took Kyle Pitts over Penny Sewell. So come on.
And Jordan Davis.
We left Jordan Davis on the don't even start about talking about.
I know. Let's just
and Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter.
Well, Jalen Carter was the next year, but yes, we could have had him too. Yep. Okay. Now you piss me off. I got to go take some blood pressure medicine, Harrison. Thank you.
Gentlemen, I guess let's just talk about the schedule real quick. It's not whatever you may say about the division. The schedule's tough. I mean, when you look at the out of division games, you play the Vikings, you play the Bills, you play the Commanders, you play the Niners, the Dolphins, the Colts, or well, we'll see what the Colts are. The Seahawks, the Jets. Well, I'm gonna skip over the Jets and the Rams. I in terms of the out of division games, I think the ones that, from my view, I think you feel some sort of confidence in terms of the Colts matchup. I think you should feel some confidence about the Patriots matchup, and you should feel some confidence about the Jets. But the remaining ones, the Falcons may not even be favored in some of those.
That's tough. Yeah, that's tough.
It's the NFL. I feel confident about none of those games. None of them. Because you say, oh, just discount the Patriots. You never know. The Patriots might be that shining team next year that we didn't even think about. Hell, Stetson Bennett might come in for the Rams and light us up, right? I mean, maybe.
Wouldn't that be the ultimate?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, that's why the one loss thing that the guys do on the radio, oh, this is a win, this is a loss. You can't do that in the NFL. It's impossible to do. Impossible, because there's going to be a team you're like, that team, oh my gosh, they're garbage. We didn't expect that. And that team, the Patriots, wow, where'd they come from? They look really strong. It's going to happen. So you can't do that. You just can't.
It's going to be tough. Either way. It's
any given Sunday. Yeah, I mean, anybody that's compared to the NFL. Anybody can beat anybody on any given Sunday. Gentlemen, in terms of going forward, obviously, the Peach State Power Hour is here to stay. Live here on Sundays at 7:30. That's
we didn't get fired. We didn't get fired tonight.
No, we're here to stay.
You just wait till the end of the show. So.
Hey, we're here as long as Eddie from Acworth doesn't retire on us. The moment he retires, Andy,
one of the two, right? Yeah.
Andy and I will have to figure something out at that point. So, gentlemen, tell them where they can find you.
You can hit me up on Twitter at Andy Stowe. It's pretty hard to find, so I'm hiding in plain sight. I'm hiding in plain sight.
Mine's right there at Eddie Mattingly. Just follow me right there on Twitter. So
I'm here. I'm at Harrison Reno on Twitter. Join us over on the Dog Vent, UJSports.com. Post merger with On3 Rivals, the site. Loving it. It's been awesome. I'm seeing all the familiar faces pop back up. You see an Eddie from Acworth. You see an Andy Stowe in there. Drop in, say hello, continue the conversation over there. Guys, we'll be back 7:30 next Sunday. Football season's close. We may even have a little bit of reactions or tidbits from fall camp. We will certainly talk about what goes down Thursday over there at UGA. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you next week.